Welcome back to the Poster Podcast. It's episode 12 and the season is here. I'm back again with Owen, and in today's episode we'll be talking about Ayton's suspension, all the big performances and the worst performances of this week of basketball, and the soap opera we currently have with Russ, Harden and Kyrie. But before we get into all this, how's the week been as a Philly fan, Owen?
It's been weird. We're unbeaten, but we've played so bad in every single game. Starting with Boston, we started bad. We grew into the game and had a 14-point win, which, I mean, you can't really ask for much better, beating your rivals. Then following that up against the Pistons, in the third quarter we were down by 13, and somehow we came back and won. Toby just, in the third quarter, went off, hit three-pointer after three-pointer. Al Horford down the stretch, hit three-pointer after three-pointer, and we somehow won. And then last night against the Hawks, we somehow won. I don't know how. We were losing for basically all of the game. Trae Young was doing what he does. Then I fell asleep, so I didn't really get to see what was the turning point. But I watched the full game back, and yeah, we just stuck around. We did what good teams do. You just stick around, and then as the game comes to an end, you just pounce. And we did that, and we were able to come away with a 2-point win.
Yeah, every game this season, just looking at Philly, as the scores have gone by, I'm thinking they're going to lose this game. And every game they come out and nick the win. And I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I speak to you when the games are going on and you're always complaining about how it's not working. And then you come up with a win, you're really happy at the end of it.
Yeah, I feel our defense is already elite. It's just our offense. The players don't know how to play with each other yet. So they always get in each other's way. We don't get many open shots yet. I think that's why we're shooting so badly. On 3-pointers we're 31 of 104. That's 30%.
That's a yikes.
So,
that's like old school Thunder performances.
Yeah, it's not great, but like I just said, we're doing what great teams do. We're just staying around and we're pouncing. Where I think that's really what separates the good teams from the best teams in the league. Because this time last year, we would have lost all three of these games because we wouldn't have had that fight to get back from double digit deficits. But I honestly, I think it's a good sign that we're able to. We're still motivated and we still want to win. So they just dig deep, and they somehow find a way to win, no matter how ugly that it may be, and it's been very ugly. But we just find a way.
Yeah, it's the true sign of champions winning games where you've not been playing too well. And on the offense, your team, like last season you had JJ Redick, so like there was a player there who could catch and shoot and get a three. Your team now, there's no out and out incredible 3-point shooter. Obviously Ben Simmons plays on the team. Enough to say about that. So like it's really, until you figure out how everybody plays and it all clicks nicely, it's gonna be awkward to watch.
Yeah, I don't know how long it will take for them to really figure out how to play. I'm guessing by December they should know how to play, but I think we do need some spark plug off the bench. You know, like a Terrence Ross. I know we couldn't afford him now with our cap, but someone to come into the game and just hit shots. We've got no one like that right now. I mean, we've really got no one off the bench to initiate the offense. It's just all reliant on Ben being fast and hopefully breaking down the defense and getting an open shot somewhere. It's not always going to work yet, but hopefully we can just learn how to play with each other, because once we learn how to play together offensively, you combine that with our defense and we could be a scary team.
Yeah, obviously, like it's going to take time to learn to play together, but it's not a bigger problem as it is for other teams. Like last night, Joel put up 36 points. Is like, they may not be clicking on offense, but you've still got like Embiid and these players that can just go and put up crazy points without the team chemistry.
Yeah. And one thing I've noticed in all three games, when we get down a stretch of a game, last 5 minutes, everything starts clicking. Where for the first 43 minutes of the game is ugly, it's bad to watch. Last 5 minutes, for whatever reason, everything we do works. Whether it's the pick and roll with Simmons and Horford, or Embiid in the paint, getting to the line, it just works. And finally, we're a clutch team. We can grind out a game. And, yeah. But one thing that's a little concerning, not just for me but for every other Sixers fan, is the injuries. we're only 3 games into the season, and Embiid's already had an ankle sprain, and he's missed a game because of it. Max Scott has already had an ankle sprain, and Ben Simmons has already had a hand injury and a back injury from preseason. So this team is gonna. It will be one of our red flags is injuries, and we're already being hit quite hard with them. So hopefully it won't get much worse. But a little concerning.
The injuries are even more concerning due to the fact that, like you said, you don't have much off the bench.
Yeah.
So when Embiid comes out, it's like,
I think
who's going to cover him?
We're fine with Embiid now with Horford.
Yeah, when you've got Horford and Toby that can move up a spot, and it'll be fine. But Korkmaz, do you really want him to be playing that many minutes?
Definitely not. And if Simmons does have an injury where he's out for a couple of weeks,
Raul Neto.
That's when it gets bad.
Raul Neto's in.
Neto,
he's
Trey
ready.
Burke.
You tweeted free Trey Burke the other day.
Yeah.
What was all that about? What was all this about?
Well, when you're watching a game and you can't score, you need scorers. And the last thing you should be doing in that situation is putting Ferg and Korkmaz in the game. Wait, when you got someone
would you call Trey Burke a scorer?
Yeah, definitely.
Not a good one though.
Better than what we got, because we're slim pickings on the bench. So you put Trey Burke, who has the potential to surprise you and go for 20. Just look at his game winner against the Boston Celtics. He abused them last season, hit a game winner. He came up big, so I think it's worth a shot. But I don't know why he's not playing at all. Because I mean, he's a decent player. He's not great, but he's better than Neto, surely.
Surely. Talking about Twitter, if you're not following us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. We tweet all the time. Owen tweets more sensible stuff, and I just tweet stupid things, but they're kind of funny sometimes. So yeah, follow us on Twitter. Well, you've had a good start to the season, and you're not incredibly happy, but
I'm delighted with
well, you're happy, but it's like
we just haven't figured it out yet, which is a good thing though, because we haven't figured it out, but we're undefeated.
Yeah,
which is not good.
Whereas OKC, we've not had the best start, but I'm quite happy. I mean,
you're content.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Tank Philomello going on Twitter, and I'm kind of embracing the tank, but also want us to win every game. So it's like if we lose, I'm like, the picks are looking good, and then if we win, I'm thinking, who needs the picks? We're getting into the playoffs. But even though we've lost to Utah by only 5, I predicted we'd lose. I thought we'd lose by like 15 or 20 in that game. To be within 5 is incredible. We lost quite badly to Washington.
That was a bad game.
Okay, we won't talk about that. We beat Golden State, a historic night. It was their joint highest defeat in the club's history.
Wow. Was it
at home? I think.
At home,
but yeah, don't quote me on that. But it was something in the way of that. And then we lost last night to Houston, which, again, we only just lost. We've been in every game except Washington, really. But yeah, so it's been surprising. Shea's been perfect. A bit too eager on defense sometimes against the better players, but he's a second-year rookie. What do you expect?
He's averaging 24 points.
Yeah,
that's
on
amazing.
offense he's been perfect.
Yeah.
It's like some of the moves he pulls out, the way he goes into the bucket, goes underneath, drags her up.
And he just looks comfortable.
Very comfortable. Dennis Schroeder is a leader. You should be the starting point guard. Don't get me started on CP3. The man CP3 is definitely having an effect on the young, because we've not started well, but we're playing not too badly. We've had a difficult start. We probably should have beat Washington and lost to Golden State, but Golden State not doing so well. But CP3 is obviously having an effect on the youngsters. They're playing with they're showing ability which is ahead of their years. But then when he's on the court, I think in the fourth quarter against Washington he had 4 turnovers. He had 5 in the game. He had 4 turnovers in the first half against Houston. It's like having Russ on your team, but he doesn't get as many points. He doesn't get as many rebounds. He doesn't get as many assists. He shoots a worse percentage, except against Houston. He shot pretty nicely. And he's tiny.
So are you saying he's been a good coach for
Yeah, he's a good... he seems like he's coaching the players well, but on the court, I don't want to see him.
So essentially you're paying $40 million a year for a coach.
Yes. He's probably better than Billy Donovan, to be honest. And even though CP3's been a bit hit and miss, Steven Adams, never want to see him play another game. Like, he got bullied by Clint Capella last night. I think Clint Capella's quite a big guy, but when Noel was playing, Clint was nowhere near him. He was like, every shot was coming in, he was tipping them back in, he had a great game, defensively he was solid. We would shoot, Adams would bring the ball down, and instead of going back up again, he would pump fake it about 14 times, and then Harden would come across and steal it out of his hands. He doesn't defend. Russ beat him to every single rebound you could possibly ask for.
There.
Yeah, Russ is still stealing rebounds off Adams. Nothing changes. When Russ was there, we'd play the pick and roll with Russ and Adams. Adams would put up decent points and get an average amount of, or probably below average amount of rebounds for a 7-foot centre. But now he's not getting the points because we're not playing the pick and roll. He's not getting the rebounds still. I think like Schroeder had like 6 rebounds last night, and it's like, why is he getting the rebounds over Steven Adams? The one positive is he didn't play the fourth quarter. He went into the locker room, so hopefully he's injured, and we won't see him for a bit. But he'll probably be back on Wednesday for the against.
But then if you want to tank for LaMelo, like you said, surely you'd want Adams playing every single game.
I do want to tank, but then I almost want to see us win.
Do you want to lose, but in good fashion?
Yeah,
like the Hawks last year,
and like we have been doing. We've been losing, but we're not playing badly, and. Like, against Washington, the offense wasn't there. Like, we weren't ticking. It didn't look nice. But then against Golden State, we were up by, like, 37 at the half. And then even against Houston, like, it just looked nice. Dennis Schroeder's... If Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams didn't exist, Schroeder's 6th man of the year. But, I mean, you can't beat 2 guys that are putting up, like, 25 points a game.
Rant over.
Rant over. But I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying watching the game.
You wouldn't think it.
No, you wouldn't think it, but there's just 2 players I dislike, but Schroeder's the god. I love him. I can't wait to buy a jersey. Now, probably the biggest surprise of this opening weekend... No, it's not a weekend, it's a week. The opening week of the NBA. The Suns are winning games.
I know. What's this all about?
I don't know.
You know, like...
But we do know, because they got drug tested and Ayton's banned for 25 games.
It's funny though, they had a big win on opening night, and the league thought, oh, you know what, we should
test these guys. Them. This is the Suns that we know.
But then since Ayton has gone out, they still beat the Clippers, and they've only lost by 1 point to the Nuggets and the Jazz, so they're still doing good. Like,
test them again.
Imagine, like, this is what having a good point guard and a good coach can do to a team. They just completely changed them. Admittedly, I haven't watched the full games because I'd rather do other stuff than watch the Suns.
But they're winning though, so it can't be as bad as watching the Suns in previous years.
That's a fair point.
We'll just wait until they play Philly or OKC. We'll know what they're up to.
Judge them. But yeah, 2 wins in the first 4 games. I honestly didn't see that happening whatsoever, especially when they're playing 3 of the best teams in the Western Conference. So fair play to them. Don't know how much longer it's going to last because every year one of the younger teams always has a good start. Look at the Magic last year and the Pistons. They both had great starts. Then as soon as teams start seeing how you play, they start game planning against you, and then you start losing a bunch. So is it going to happen to the Suns? Probably.
Yeah, and the Suns are a team where when they start losing, they'll get comfortable, and then they'll continue to lose.
It'll be fine. We'll just get another top pick.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we've lost 3 games in a row.
Let's lose 4.
Kind of like this. But if you didn't hear about I don't know where you've been if you didn't hear about the whole Ayton debacle. Great word. Debacle. He was, after the opening game, they drug test the whole team. Ayton was caught with... Diuretic. Whatever.
Nah, diuretic.
Diuretic in his system, which is basically a cover-up drug.
Yeah.
That it makes it seem like it help you pass a drug test. So it's a bit sketchy that he's taking it.
But when they tested him on extra drugs in the system, nothing was found. So I don't know why he was hiding, unless he just didn't know about it and someone just gave it to him without telling him.
Yeah, a 25-game ban. Do you think that's harsh? Fair?
It's a little harsh. Like, if he didn't know about it, then yeah, it's very harsh. But I think the Players Association is working to try to get that suspension lower to maybe 10 games. Which, I mean, yeah, if he didn't know, it's harsh that he has to miss games.
I think it's fair in the sense where it's a drug which tries to cover up the fact that he was, like, he could possibly be cheating. But if they've tested him beyond that and to see that he wasn't
Yeah.
actually on anything, I feel like he should be put down.
Like, if this was the only thing he took, it's not a performance enhancing drug,
No.
so it's not going to affect how he plays. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a strange story to start the season.
Yeah, but obviously we were saying about this season, like with Rubio in, this was his big chance to like become the great centre that he could be. Is this going to hurt his career?
Oh no, definitely not. You'll come back and probably average 20 and 13, and you'll just continue going.
Good luck to you, Ayton. Stop taking drugs, mate. Do that after the season's finished. No, don't do that at all. Talking about other players that have been playing better than we'd all expected, who's Kendrick Nunn?
It's a good question.
Because, honestly, never heard of this guy's name before.
I remember
he dropped 22 points.
I watched him once in college. He put up a lot of points in college. He did some dodgy stuff.
I mean,
with
so did Markel Fultz.
That's a good fair enough. He did some things to his girlfriend, and that's why he didn't get drafted. But yeah, he was on the Warriors last year, and they waived him. So Miami picked him up, and with Jimmy Butler being out, he's really put up points. Do they need Jimmy Butler? But honestly, like, would you drop him now? He's putting up 22 points a game. He's shooting amazingly from 3. And he looks like he belongs in the NBA. Watching him play, he's got all the moves in his locker. He's finishing all the tough shots, tough layups. There's no reason to drop him.
Yeah, when I saw the opening day fixture for Miami and saw their starting lineup when Butler wasn't playing, I was like, oh God, this team is bad without Butler. And then he just balls out, and I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And why is he playing? Why does he look like a regular NBA player? But yeah, they can't drop him.
You know, Miami always finds these players. You go back a couple of years, they plucked Hassan Whiteside from nowhere, and he became instantly one of the better defensive bigs.
Bam Adebayo.
I mean, they did draft him in the lottery.
Bam Adebayo.
They did get Tyler Johnson as well. Similar story to Kendrick Nunn, where they again got him from nowhere and turned him into an actual NBA player. So maybe this is just another player in that long list of Miami Heat steals.
So that's a shout out to any player that are struggling to become an NBA player. Go to the Heat.
Just go to Miami.
Yeah, they'll sort you right out.
Yeah.
Another player, well, I don't want to say this is a shock because I kind of said he would be good. Brandon Ingram.
I thought he would jump a little bit, but not to like this level, putting up 27 a game.
It's not just 27, 10 rebounds as well. It's efficient scoring as well.
And 5 assists. He's getting everyone involved. Yeah, if he can continue this, these stats like Giannis level from last year. He's not as good as Giannis, obviously, but yeah, it's very good. A very good start to the season. Can he continue?
Well, Pelicans are 0-4, so
he's not winning yet.
So when they start winning, he might get even better.
Do you reckon?
No.
No.
They'll probably go down a little bit to like 22 points.
But still, that's a good jump.
Yeah.
If he settles around 21, 22, that's still a very good season for Ingram.
Moving on to a few teams that are surprisingly pretty terrible start. Well, we'll start with the Kings. We both last minute took them out of our top eight in the playoffs, and for good reason it looks like.
But my reason was, I was a little concerned with the team chemistry because they were always a tight unit group, and then seeing what Buddy Hield did, speaking out about his contract, is a bit of a red flag for me. Did I think they would be this horrendous to start the season? No. But then, since watching them play, they look lost on offense. They have no clear direction, and it makes you wonder what Luke Walton has done with them in training camp. Because they just pass the ball to someone, and isolation. Don't pass the ball to anyone, just do it yourself, which is never a good way to win. And they're drawing up plays to put Buddy Hield in the post. Why is he in the post? Like, same with Harrison Barnes. You don't put them there. You put them out on the 3-point line to shoot, where they're at their best. So it just seems like they're a little confused. They don't know their identity yet.
I can't wait till we play the Kings.
They probably will win that game.
Buddy Hield in the post. I'm liking the sound of that. Now, the next team that's starting pretty terribly kind of hurts me since I tipped them to possibly get to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Golden State started awfully.
Well, when you look at their team, you got Curry, who's getting on a bit now with his ankle injuries. D'Angelo Russell, he's a bit overrated. and they don't have a bench, so they were never gonna like set the world on fire. But in the manner in which they've lost their games is a little concerning. But Curry is shooting awfully from 3, but you have to assume it is gonna get better over time.
Yeah, well, it's a young team, average age of 24. Well, that was the team they played against, Golden State. Average age of that squad was 24. It's just weird because Curry is such a good shooter, and it just seems like where I was saying about CP3 and he's mentoring the young players at OKC. This is what Donkey and Curry need to be doing. Donkey being Draymond Green, obviously. They've got a bunch of young players like Paul, who showed them somebody that he's got a good shooting form. Then he got crossed up by Nunn a couple of times, and they got dunked on by Ingram last night.
And then he lost all his ability.
Yeah, and he's been awful since. But like players like that, like they've got a bunch of players. Like since when was like Spellman 22? What was that about? Like I thought he was about 34.
It's only in his second season.
He's 22 apparently. I thought he's been in the league for 10 years. They've got a young squad, and they've got these two leaders who aren't leading. Curry was laughing at half-time in the OKC game. Like, I was watching Russ yesterday for Houston against OKC. They were down by 10, and he's, like, screaming at everybody. Like, some systems work, some don't, but you want to be a bit of a motivator for these young players. And the fact that Curry was laughing as they were down by 30 is just embarrassing, really. And the way he's shooting and playing is embarrassing. They brought it back a little bit against the Pelicans, and they scored a lot of points. Draymond Green got a triple-double. It's just, with the team they've got, it's a bunch of players that a good season could see them reignite their career, and a bad season could see them drop out of the league. So it's like Curry and Draymond need to bring these players up, and they can go far in the playoffs. It's my Golden State rant over. Still love you, Chef.
When they played against OKC, and Marquise Chris was starting center, that was never a good sign. Like, literally, I thought Cleveland last season was his last ever chance in the NBA, and he didn't take that chance. And now he's starting for the Warriors. It was so baffling for me to see that.
You say that it was a bad idea putting him as centre. Adam still only put up 9 points, so it wasn't that big of a deal. He's still awful. Chris D'd him up pretty well. I mean, it's not hard. You always go stand next to Adams, he'll miss. Another team which has started horribly, which is, well, it is a surprise, but with the injuries they've got, it's not that much of a surprise. The Pacers.
Yeah, to me, that was a massive surprise.
But with the injuries, no Oladipo, Summers is starting at shooting guard.
He's underrated. He's not bad.
I mean, is he? I mean, they're 0-3.
But
how underrated is he?
They're putting up stats. You know, Sabonis is putting up 20 a game. Miles Turner's doing what he does. Brogdon is on
Brogdon put up 30 and 10 in one of the games.
Yeah, he's averaging a double-double.
I mean, I said most improved player.
But for some reason, it's not resulting in wins. Where I thought they would be a top 4 seed in the East. Even without Oladipo, I felt the team was still good enough to compete. But it's just been a bad start. Surely this isn't going to continue for much longer. I think Oladipo was meant to be back in December.
They said ahead of schedule. Oladipo was ahead of schedule to be back way before they thought he would be. So that's positive.
That'd be like a brand new signing. Yeah, they will still make the playoffs. I'm not concerned about that at all. They just have to get through this slump.
Yeah, there's no point saying that, they're in doubt for the playoffs. It's an 82-game season. They've played 3.
It's way too early to be like overreacting.
Yeah, I mean, they could literally go and win the next 79 games.
Yeah.
Like, they won't, but they could.
They could.
You can't say they can't, because they could. But it's not going to happen, no, but they'll still easily make the playoffs. But sort it out, Pacers. Moving on from teams that have been awful, well, teams and players. The Knicks are still bad, and Dennis Smith Jr. might be out of the league soon.
Yeah, what's happening with him is so strange. You saw, I think I sent you a video over the off-season of Dennis Smith working out, and he had a massive hitch in his shot. So I was saying like, this is a bit concerning. Like, why can't he shoot no more? And that's really translated into the season where the first 3 games, he's played 26 minutes in 3 games. First of all, why? What's wrong with him? And second of all, he's only scored 3 points. What's happened with him? Because when they traded Kristaps, Dennis Smith was the main part of the deal. Saying, we'll give him away because we want a point guard of the future. And now I don't know. Alfred Payton's ahead of him. Like, how do things get so bad so quick? Like, now, he's probably worse than Markel Fultz. Like, who would have thought that after the rookie seasons where Markel only played 14 games and Dennis Smith averaged 15 points per game in his rookie season? It's baffling.
It's quite the fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a player that was so athletic, had quite a lot of potential.
People recall him the next Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it from his rookie season, but he just looks like a different player. Like, I don't know what's happened, but
do you think
he's probably just playing in the Knicks, isn't it?
Do you think he'll end the season with the Knicks, or will he get traded? Who would want him?
Yeah, who wants him? What would they get which would benefit the Knicks team? Like, it's just strange.
I wonder what New York would get from him. Maybe like a couple of seconds.
Not a lot.
Second-round picks.
But another player that's playing pretty badly, Caldwell Pope. So Caldwell Pope, like last summer, was training with Lethal Shooter, and he's turned a lot of players into lethal shooters. I mean, that's why he's got the name. And when he came back, I think it was a bit into last season. So at the end of last season, he came in and he was shooting okay, he put up a couple of good games. And then the summer's gone, and he's come back, and he is awful. Like, truly awful.
Yeah. I think when he started working with Lethal Shooter last year, for the second part of the season, he was averaging like 40 points from...
40 points? Jesus.
40% from three. He actually became a good shooter. So I don't know why in his first two games he started 0 for 9. Why? Like, what's happened to him? Did he just not bother working out over the summer? Maybe he got consistent, thinking, oh, I'm a good shooter now, I don't need to work out. But hopefully you guys just stuff together. Because the Lakers need him. They need his shooting.
Yeah. They need shooting. Especially with the Clippers having someone like Lou Williams off their bench. If they want to try and compete with the other team in LA, like, they're looking for this man to be their Lou Williams. And he's playing like Lou Williams with no hands at the moment. I think if Lou Williams just used his feet and his head, he would get more points than Caldwell Pope.
Possibly.
Moving on to Rookie Watch. Well, every week we'll just talk about the rookies that are doing well. The main man, the first man, the man that I'm a big fan of, the better Kobe White. He started well.
Well, he had a good first two games and putting up 17 and 25, and then I was thinking, oh, maybe I was wrong about him. But then his last two games, he's put up 8 and 5 on really bad shooting. So maybe I'm right.
We all have bad games.
But were they just flukes? Was it a good start? Because in his last game, he played like 15 minutes, where the coach just didn't trust him in the game. I mean, that's not a good sign, but yeah, a little inconsistent so far.
But he showed in those games that he put up big points, and in the Summer League and in pre-season, that he has the ability. He's got like a lethal touch, and he's a decent shooter.
And he's not afraid of the big moment.
He's also not afraid of the big moment.
He loves the big shots.
Well, I said that he will have like a Trey and Doncic season, and I'll stick to that. He's gonna have a Trey and Doncic season.
Yeah, no way.
He'll score well.
He's coming off the bench.
His team won't win that often.
But he's coming off the bench.
Maybe come off the bench, but still, Lou Williams proves that you can still score lots of points off the bench.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another one who's had I think a good start of the season is Matisse Thybulle of the Sixers.
I'm not going to say anything about this guy. You can just talk, because this is your man.
Offensively, he's not done much. 3 of 16 for 11 points in 3 games. But we didn't draft him to score points. We drafted him to defend. And he's become the first player in Sixers history to have at least 2 steals in his first 3 career games. Last game against the Hawks, he had 4 steals and 2 blocks. And on the season, he's averaging just under 3 steals a game. And for a rookie to come in straight away and become one that... He's well on his way to becoming one of the best perimeter defenders in the league already. Is mad. Like, he came into the game yesterday against the Hawks, and he locked up Trae Young. Not many players in the league can lock him up, and Matisse did just that. And it's crazy, because last season, when Jimmy Butler would leave the game, we normally have, like, Furkan Korkmaz come in the game, and instantly we'd lose our perimeter defense. Whereas now, as soon as Josh Richardson comes out of the game, the offensive players can't rest, because you have an even better defender coming in. So, he's not putting up points, but he's had such a great impact already. And he plays much more mature than the average rookie. I love him.
I agree with some of the statements, disagree with other ones, I think. I don't... yeah, Thibault's good. Good defender. Doesn't do much on offense. He's basically Andre Robertson.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But better.
Zion, still haven't played a game. Knees are still non-existent. But his teammate, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who Owen totes as the better cousin, has had a struggling start.
First 3 games, not great at all. Shooting 4 of 23 from the field.
But he showed with that in the first game. He wasn't afraid to shoot. He was getting the ball.
He will take shots.
He was throwing them up. I think he was 0 for 7 in the first game.
But I love the fact that their coaching staff is willing to let him shoot. He shot horrifically first 3 games, but yesterday against the Warriors, put up 15 points and 9 assists on 6 for 11 shooting. So maybe he's getting back on track. Maybe he was just nerves. He had to get out of the way.
Yeah, there's just confidence in it. As soon as he starts, like, he got a good game last night. We'll see in probably the next few games he'll probably keep that going. It's just confidence for a rookie, and although he might not be making the shots like in the first game when he was 0 for 7, he's not afraid to throw up a shot.
Yeah, the last thing you want is to be like Dennis Smith Jr. Just get a wide open shot and just pass it up because you're too scared to shoot. At least he's shooting, which is a big thing. But one thing that is concerning for me is Michael Porter Jr. Still not got any minutes on the season. He was over the summer. He was dubbed to become the Nuggets' best bench player. For whatever reason, it's not happened. He hasn't played. Not sure why, but a bit concerning to say the least.
Yeah, you like to see him get some minutes because you know he's a talent. There must be something behind the scenes going on which is stopping him from playing, whether it might be like a small injury they don't want to aggravate or something.
Yeah. But
it's strange that he's getting 0 minutes. He's got 0 minutes at the moment.
Because he's good enough to make an impact on a team. Yeah, if he is injured, I mean that's even more concerning because I feel like he's been injured non-stop since 2015. Just get healthy. You know, maybe they just scared to play him in case he does get injured.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a player that you dislike and you have spoke very lowly, if that's even a word, about throughout the pre-season. RJ Barrett's had a good start. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Is he still got that tunnel vision? Is he still chucking up shots that he shouldn't make?
No. Thankfully. But if you remember, I did say he has to change the way he plays. Where when he has the ball, at Duke, he would just run to the rim. You could have 4 players wide open around him, and you just wouldn't see him at all. But I think just looking at him play and looking through his stats as well, he's averaging over 3 assists a game, which
3.3.
That's a good sign for him. Hopefully he's using his eyes. He's seeing his teammates, and I said, like, if he can become a good playmaker, he will be a good player in this league. Shooting 50% from the field, he's not taking bad shots. So I'm happy that he's sort of changed the way he plays, and I mean it's working out, thankfully.
And one player that is getting very little coverage in the league so far, but it's just going about and doing his thing. Ja Morant.
Yeah.
30 points last night.
If he played in New York, the buzz would be everywhere. But the fact he just plays in Memphis, I feel like nobody cares. But he's had a good start. 18 points, 6 assists, including a massive block on Kyrie Irving to send the game to overtime. It's just a good start.
The thing with Ja Morant, the thing with rookies is you look at them and think, can they just come into the league and not look like a rookie? And he's literally come into the league. We were saying at the draft that he looks like an all-star already. He has the look of a basketball player.
The way he walks, the way he runs.
And he plays like he's been in the league for years. Like, he's gone about his business just doing what he does. He does it well. And, I mean, if Zion stays out for a long time, he must be favourite for Rookie of the Year.
Definitely. And I think coming into the draft, defense was his main concern. But I know it's only 3 games, so it's a very small sample size, but he's looked solid. He's holding his own. And not only that, he's also producing defensively with 2 steals and a block a game. So I mean, only time will tell if he can continue that when we get into the season. But it's been a good start so far.
And that's Rookie Watch. That's this week's Rookie Watch done. Next segment is something I like to call 3-Point Watch. Has Ben Simmons made a 3 yet?
Nope.
And that's 3-Point Watch.
You know, I think making that 3-pointer in pre-season was quite possibly the worst thing he could have done. Because now all the casual fans saying, "Oh, Ben, shoot, just shoot."
Shoot.
That's possibly the worst thing he could have done. Because looking the first 3 games of the season, he doesn't even look at the rim. You could argue it's worse than last season because he's getting even more space along the perimeter, and he just runs into the space. He doesn't even think about shooting, not even a mid-range shot. So I'm a little concerned because we were all promised. Ben was saying, "If I'm open, I will take it." Clearly not. You haven't taken anything, even though you're open every single possession. You had all the teammates hyping him up, saying, "Oh, he's look good." But we just haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe he just wants to feel a bit more comfortable. But we need to start seeing some sort of shot, or some fans will start going crazy.
It's kind of like insulting, or like they're mocking him in a way, the amount of space they give him. They're like, "Go on, we know you can shoot it now, shoot it," and he doesn't.
There's no reason to guard him.
Yeah. Well, there kind of is, but he showed that he can shoot a 3. 1 3, that is.
Against the Chinese team.
It doesn't matter. But by the way they stand off him, the rim's still the same.
Exactly.
Like, he's got the chance to shoot it, and they're kind of mocking him, saying, "Go on, shoot. We know you won't, and if you do, then we'll start D'ing you up properly."
I remember when we played the Lakers last year, and LeBron was literally, he was guarding Ben. I don't know if you can even call it guarding, but when Ben was along the perimeter, LeBron was literally under the basket. He wasn't even guarding him. So Ben should be offended by it, saying, "Oh, look, I'm going to make you pay." But I think Ben sees that as an opportunity not to shoot, instead of one where he should really take advantage of.
Ben's just keeping this 3-point shot for the NBA Finals.
Oh, definitely.
He'll make the game winner, Game 7, in the face of Kawhi.
I would love that.
The next segment is the reality TV show, which I like to call Russ and Harden. How's Russ and Harden going so far? How are they getting along?
A little bit dicey. I thought, I was saying, like, give them till December. They didn't even get through the first game of the season without beefing. They say they're just friends, but Harden said that about CP3 last year, and look how that turned out. Yes. They didn't like each other. I think Russ is going to get bored of standing in the corner watching Harden isolate. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this progresses throughout the season.
Yeah, I think the problem with Russ and Harden is, and like the media might be like bigging it up as like them not getting along too well, but it's like Russ is a very animated, like I saw for years he would dance before the games. He's very in your face animated player, where Harden's a lot more timid, stays out your way, dives every time he takes a shot, and yeah. So the problem is that Russ wants to win, and he's very vocal about it, where Harden wants to win and he's a bit more timid, he's quieter about it. So when Russ is trying to, like, is like in his face, like shouting, it might not be a beef sort of thing. It's probably just like Russ trying to hype up the team.
But I also think they both want to win in their own ways, where they're both stubborn in a way where, oh, I want to win, but I want to shoot all the shots. They both have that sort of mentality. It's an alpha dog mentality. So I don't know if they're going to be able to share, or they're just going to be too selfish and let their own desires get in the way of actually winning games.
Yeah, Russ is soon going to get bored of just watching Harden run every play, because when he was at OKC, obviously everybody knows he ran every single play, and these days he's not touching the ball as much as he would definitely want to.
Well, if you compare it to last season, he's taken I think four shots less. So I mean, it's already starting. He's not shooting as much. He is much more efficient, to be fair. But yeah, is he gonna get fed up with not shooting as much? Probably.
Another part of the reality show of the NBA is Kyrie at the Nets.
I predicted it.
Yeah, how's that going at the moment?
Not good. A report just came out from Jackie McMullen who said Kyrie's mood swings are an unspoken concern for Brooklyn, and it makes the organization feel queasy.
I mean, I could have told you that before you signed him.
Exactly. I think we both said that when they signed him. They also said when he shuts down, he's unwilling to communicate with the coaching staff, the front office, and his teammates. Apparently, one episode occurred when Brooklyn were in China, and that left everyone scratching their head as to what precipitated the incident. And apparently, the Nets are hoping Durant will fix this. That's their hope.
Let's hope Durant sorts something out.
We're 3 games into the season and it's already going down.
But it's not like he was going off in China, so it was even before the season started.
I know. I thought, like, they got a West Coast trip coming up. I thought that's when it would all boil over. But the fact that it happened before the season started is very concerning. And as a Sixers fan who doesn't like Brooklyn, I'm very excited to see how this pans out.
Well, he's not putting up bad performances, but he's very much it's him.
But this is what Kyrie wanted.
Yeah.
He wants to put up 40 points per game. He doesn't care if he wins. He just wants to put up the stats and say, look at me, I'm a good scorer. Yeah, I think he's got what he wanted, really.
Well, if anything, the game run he missed, where he kind of fell and came back up, which was definitely a mistake.
He broke his own ankles.
He didn't try and fall over and do some crazy little move. It's probably a good thing for the Nets that he didn't make that shot, because imagine the arrogance if he made a shot like that.
But then again, when he put up that 50-point game, that was the worst thing that could have happened, because in Kyrie's world, that justified to him, oh, I'm good enough to take all these shots. I feel sorry for the other Nets players, because now they're not going to get the ball, because Kyrie is probably thinking, well, I scored 50 points, so why can't I do this every night? So I'm going to shoot as much as I can to score as much as I can.
The Brooklyn demise starts here.
And I'm here for it.
Finishing this podcast with our players of the week. So this is in a starting 5 format. We picked 5 players from the 2 conferences and who we think are the best, the stand-up players of the past week. So I've gone for Trae Young, Kyrie Irving, Brandon Ingram, Giannis, and Karl Anthony Towns.
And I've gone with Trae Young, obviously, very good start. Kendrick Nunn, not for the points, but mainly because he's come out of nowhere and he's held his own. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Well, we've both got Trae, I mean, with obvious reasons. Yeah. Before the season, we said that Doncic and Trae needed to up their percentages to become excellent players, and Trae has done that. Yeah, we're only like 3 or 4 games in, but the percentages he's shooting are great, and he's putting up even more points than he was last season. Yeah,
no matter how small he is, he's dominating. Teams are struggling to guard him, and he's so smart with the ball and so crafty, and it's light work for him, I think, because the Atlanta team is built around him, and he's thriving. Yeah, I think, well, we already mentioned Kendrick Nunn this season, how surprising he's been, but I think he deserves to be on this team of the week, because I think nobody expected him to do anything close to what he's doing. So the fact that he is able to average 22 points, albeit in a short number of games, is so impressive, and I think he does deserve a spot on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know who he was before the start of the season, and this being like the team of the week, quotation marks, he's definitely one of the better players this week. Obviously, we talked about how Kyrie and his mood swings, but you can't deny him. 38 points, 6 rebounds and 6 assists. It is a quality start from a quality player.
Yep. And another one we touched on earlier, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
My boy!
24 points and 7 rebounds. He's not really playing a point guard role because of Chris Paul, but he's performing the role as the scorer as about as good as you could hope. He's taken that big step from his first year to his second year, and if he can continue this sort of form, he might be knocking on the door of the All-Star game.
I hope so. And another player that we spoke about earlier.
We've talked about all these players.
In my team, Brandon Ingram. I mean, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists is all you need to say about this man who is now... I like that all these LA boys are leaving little digs to LA. They're like, oh, it's such a much better... It's so much better playing in New Orleans than it is in LA. No diss to LA though. It's a diss to LA. Like stop trying to hide that it was awful to play in LA. but Ingram has to be in my team.
Yeah, finally a player who we haven't talked about yet. Luka Doncic. So far, averaging 29 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. He's already had 1 triple-double. He's not taken that next step efficiently in terms of his field goal percentage, etc. But he's scoring more points, more rebounds, assists. He's really just taken the lead of that team. And with Porzingis, they could form a very good duo for the years to come.
And I've got last year's MVP, Giannis. 24 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, very close to averaging a triple-double. Not being the greatest that Milwaukee probably would have liked. They've been a bit suspect in some of their games, but still a great player, putting up great points. One of the better players playing this week. And we've both got Karl Anthony Towns putting up 32 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and shooting like Steph Curry. It's very obvious why he's in our team.
Yeah, well, 52% from 3 on 10 attempts per game. Unreal.
The record for made threes is 13.
Yeah.
Man shooting 10 a game.
10 attempts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's not making 10. But still, like, a really efficient night, you could see him break the record. I don't think he will, but, he's the main man in Minnesota.
Leading the Timberwolves to an unbeaten record so far.
We should... what's going on?
He's really taken that lead role. Before the season, him and Kendrick Perkins were having some beef, where Perkins said he's sleeping with the AC on Minnesota. He's just completely disrespecting them. I feel like he's used that as motivation so far to get off to a good start.
Yeah, you can't have many better starts.
Unbeaten, 32 points, 13 rebounds. What a start.
Closing the episode with Player of the Week, just like the NBA do. One from each conference. Who have you gone for?
Well, I've gone for the same players I've chosen in real life. You can't go much wrong.
And so have I, yeah.
Trae Young and Karl Anthony Towns. 2
of the 3 players that are averaging over 30 points so far this season, both shooting efficiently. You can't really pick anybody else but Trae and Kat. Ingram and Kyrie are other players that you could possibly choose ahead of them, but I think Trae and Kat have been something else this season. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Post Up Podcast. We'll be back next week for another week's review. We'll be here every week until the end of the season now. I don't have to say every week. Follow us on Twitter because we tweet some great stuff. It's funny. Well, I think it's funny.
It's very funny.
It's very funny. Subscribe, follow on SoundCloud and YouTube. Watch, share with all your friends, you popular people. It's that last week's one. Thanks for listening. See you next week.